Welcome, this is part 3 in the series of learning how to use the Python Tkinter module to create a nice Christmas card user interface. In this video we're going to focus on learning how to add a canvas object to our interface. So the first thing we need to do is save this version 2 as version 3. File, save as, and it's now version 3. And save, and that means that we need to go up and change our notes on version control, and we'll say version 3 notes, and this version will add a canvas object to the interface. So that's the focus of this lesson. So our version 1 code stays the same, and where it says on line 14 here new code for version 2, we're just going to say version 2 code because it's not new anymore. That was the last video. But what we're doing here is we're creating version control. So again, we'll go to the end of this file, and because the program is sequential, we'll add our new code onto the end of it. So we'll put a comment in to say new code for version 3. And then we'll write in what it is version 3 focuses on, which is creating a canvas object and adding it to the window object. Okay, so we need a couple of variables for this. I'm going to scroll up here. In fact, I'm going to hit enter to give me some room here. So we need some variables. So we'll put in a comment to say define variables. And we need a variable for the canvas height. So we'll call it canvas height. Remember, you can either use the underscore or camel case where you put the two words together but the second word starts with a capital. Canvas height, and we're going to set that to 700, and that means 700 pixels. And canvas width, and if you remember, that's going to be 500. Now we're going to put a border around this canvas, and it actually works as a space rather than a border, a space between the edge of the window and the edge of the canvas, but we're going to call it a canvas border just now. So we'll set a variable for canvas border and size, and we'll set that to 10. Oops, that's not an equals. We'll set that to 10. Now I want to continue with a bit of continuity from the bitmap icon that we added to version 2. So I'm going to use the same Christmas green hexadecimal colour code and the same Christmas red hexadecimal colour code. I wonder if you can remember them from the previous video. So we'll set them up here. So Christmas red has been assigned. Now it's in speech marks, but inside the speech marks you're putting the hexadecimal, which is your hashtag, 2 values for red, 2 values for green, and 2 values for blue. So it's a hashtag for red D6 001C, and then we'll do one for the Christmas green, and it is hashtag, because it's a hexadecimal colour code, 1B 8335, and that should do us. Now the next thing we want to do is actually create a canvas object, just the same way as we had to do when we created the window object. So we'll put in a comment to say create canvas object, and what we will do is we'll assign it to a variable called canvas. So we'll say canvas is assigned, and because it's an object it gets a capital C, canvas, and then we're going to give this canvas some properties so that when it's created it has some properties. So we want to give it a background colour, a height, a width, and then we want to give it a border thickness and change the border colour to red. And that all happens inside these brackets here, because the parameters that you pass in here will set up the properties of the canvas object. Now this is quite a long line, so we're going to split that line over a few, otherwise it'll go off the page. So we'll say BG, and that's short for background, and we'll assign it the Christmas green variable. Alright, now remember Christmas green, here it is here, and it's actually storing this value, which is the hexadecimal number for the Christmas green. Then we'll put a comma in, and we'll come down a line, and see how the brackets came down with us, and it's in alignment. Python knows that this is still part of the setup for the canvas object. So the next property that we want to set up is the height, and we want to set that to canvas height. And the next one is the width, and we'll set that to the variable we've created called canvas width. And the next thing we want to do is set up the border size. Now it's not called canvas border, it's actually called highlight thickness. Highlight thickness. So watch out for that, it's all one word, but it's referring to the thickness, the size of this highlight area that can surround our canvas. We're treating it kind of like a border just now. So we've set up a size 10 and we've put it in a variable canvas border size. Which is great for us. And last one is the colour of this highlight, and of course it's called highlight background. So highlight background, all one word, is assigned, and you've guessed it, it's the Christmas red. Okay, now we don't need a comma at the end of that because it's the last value. Now if we come down a couple of lines, if we were to run this program right now, nothing would actually happen. We wouldn't be able to see anything because we've not added it yet. We need to use a special method called pack. So let's put in a comment to remind us of this. Add the newly created canvas object to the window, right? And the way to do that, now our variable, remember, is called canvas, so we can say canvas dot pack, and don't forget your brackets here because this is you calling the pack method. If you just said pack, it wouldn't call the pack method into action. Okay, now check that you've saved it as version 3 and then run it. And when you run it, if all goes well, your window should now contain a beautiful Christmas red border and a Christmas green canvas background. So it's beginning to look like a Christmas card, isn't it? And we've still got our Merry Christmas in the title from version 1 and our icon in version 2. And see how the red matches and the green matches, so we've got a bit of continuity between the colours. Excellent. Now the next video in this series will replace this background with an actual image of a Christmas scene, a cosy Christmas scene in your house. And after we've done that, we can then start to program adding vector shapes to it in the form of a Christmas tree and presents and things like that. Good.